Have you all heard that saying, you are who you hang around, you are who you be with, you are who you experience life with? Yes, negative people will trigger a negative emotion. And as I was preparing for this, I was like, well, you know what? Let me look. 'Cause there was a YouTube video about how to identify who is negative. And I watched it all about 0.05 seconds. And the reason is because who cares? Who cares what someone says that someone is negative is? That is an individual decision. You get to decide who is right and who is not right for your spirit, who is not right for your body, who is not right for the next level for your elevation. Keep in mind that the person may not be negative in terms of being malicious. Maybe they're just not where you need to be in your life or where you want to be. Your thought process can be different now. You may think light years ahead of the person, or at least it feels that way, right? And maybe you're like, I want to keep this person around because they've been around for a while. They have helped me through some tough times. They have done all these different things, but I just don't feel right when I'm with them. I feel stressed. I feel anxious. I feel on guard, or I feel like I have to say and do things to make them feel better. That negative person is triggering a negative emotion in you. And when that happens, think about the emotional space that is taken up for you. Think about, how is this impacting now that I'm putting this emotional energy into this person that is not giving me a return on an investment of my time? What is that taking away from? Growth, relationships, exploration, concentration, fun, laughing, relaxing, all these things it could be taken away from because you don't want to lose what was. You don't want to impact how things have been or what you're used to, right? And so then it kind of comes the question of, well, then what do I do, right? How do I handle this person? How do I handle this situation? You can repel someone without telling them that this is not what's best for you. You can repel the relationship. Let me give you an example. If there's someone that loves to gossip, loves to talk bad about someone, always have some negative story to tell, someone's misery is their happiness. How do you repel that? Everything you say and everything you do with the person is something that is positive. They're like, hey, did you see so-and-so? I can't believe she had her hair like that. It looks nice to me. It looks decent to me. Maybe that's all she was able to do, but I don't see anything wrong with it. What are they going to say after that? They're like, oh, maybe she's just in this positive mood right now. Maybe she's in this Holy Spirit mood. I don't know. Maybe she's this. And they try to get in with you, right? Why would someone bring this to a cookout? You don't bring that to a cookout. Well, maybe that's all they can afford. I'm glad they showed up safely, though. You're going to repel the person. You're going to repel the conversation where you don't have to have this long dialogue about what they're doing in your life. And sometimes we go wrong with that. We think that we need to talk about everything. And as a therapist, sometimes I remember telling this couple one time, I said, sometimes y'all will talk about things to death. I'm all for conversation, but you two will over talk where there's things where there's really no conclusion. If someone is impacting your life in a negative way, causing you anxiety and maybe even depression and just can't function, and you see their phone ring, coming across on your cell phone, and you're like, ugh, you feel your heart beating all of a sudden, right? You start feeling all these reactions and you're like, oh, do I answer? Do I not answer? How else can you use that emotional energy? Think for a moment and come up with 3 things and say, in that time that I'm looking at the phone of this person calling me, wondering, should I answer? And maybe sometimes you do, maybe sometimes you don't. But then if you don't, now you're wondering, should I call them back? Now you're wondering if they left a message. And oh my goodness, if they leave a message that's really vague, right? Their message is, hey, give me a call back. I want to talk to you. Right? Now you're really like, oh, what do I do? What do they want to talk to me about? Couple things. One, you can actually, next time you speak to them and say, hey, do me a favor, what will help me? When you leave me a message, give me a topic of discussion so that I know and have an idea what we're talking about. So instead of leaving me a message and say, call me, let me know, hey, I just call and check in on you. Hey, give me a call. I want to talk to you about this weekend. Hey, give me a call. I want to talk to you about your plans for the holidays. Give me a topic of discussion. That would help me. You're giving them some clear guidelines of what's best for you and how you want to navigate this relationship, because what's too high is that because I see your number on my phone, is that now I'm met with all this anxiety and I'm met with all these different emotions, and that's not what you want, right? That's not what you want to do. You're like, now this negative person is feeding me all this negative energy, and I get to decide what I want to do with that. I want you to decide what you want to do with that. Doing nothing is not an option. We are not doing nothing. Everyone hear me? We are not doing nothing. Doing nothing is not an option. When you think about taking control of your life and managing your relationships, waiting it out is not an option. Sometimes as women and high achieving women and independent women, we're like, oh, I'll figure it out, or I'm going to wait it out, or I'm just going to do something. No, we're not going to do anything. We're going to address it because the price is too high. All right, so let me know in the comments kind of what your thoughts are about negative people. Also, keep in mind, negative does not mean malicious. Just because we said someone is negative, they're not being malicious, and that might be where our hard part is. That might be where our struggle point comes in. Well, they don't mean any harm, or it's just my fill in a blank who's just calling to check on me. But if you're getting a reaction from that, then you need to address that within yourself. Does it always have to include the other person? Not necessarily. Decide and evaluate the relationship. You know the person. You know, is this someone that I could have a mature conversation with? Well, they'll understand where I'm saying without either getting defensive, taking it personally, or now it becomes a big family or friend drama. You know them well enough to know if you can have these conversations. If not, and say, you know what? I can't talk with them about that because that might be wasted energy and wasted time. Remember, we're not wasting energy. We are not wasting time. Okay? So we're not going to do that, but what we are going to do is saying, but I am going to cultivate a new type of experience for both you and I. And I get to decide how that's going to happen. Do they have to be involved in the building process with this new phase of relationship? No, they don't have to be involved unless you choose them to be involved. And if so, make sure you have a full picture of what that involvement is going to look like. Right? And they may involve so-and-so, they may involve someone else, and now you're navigating this new you with 3 of your closest friends and family members. And you may not want to do that, right? That might be too much. So you get to decide, okay, how I want to do this. So maybe the person say, you know what? I just determined, or I realize that you're not good with handling this type of information. So I'm not going to share it with you. An example, maybe you have a friend who you get along great, but when you're talking about something, an achievement that you have, or an achievement that you made, all of a sudden this friend has this different disposition. Well, what about this? Are you sure you want to do this? I don't know how that's going to work. You know, one of those. So you know, okay, yeah, you can't handle that part of me. And so I won't share that with you anymore. Maybe there's a friend that, you know what, you're just my funny friend. You're someone that teaches me how to relax. You remind me to laugh. You remind me to have fun. You remind me of all these things, right? And that's what they are. You're just my funny friend. So our conversations are, I know, just going to be filled with laughter. Not much substance, right? We're not going to have some deep philosophical conversation or religious or political or anything like that. It's just going to be fun. And that's where you would keep that relationship. Why? Because that's what they can handle and that's what you can handle from them. Someone else maybe is a good listener, right? Now, if they're a good listener, you don't want to take advantage of their time and their space. You said, okay, hey, do you have a moment? I want to talk to you a little bit about this topic. When's a good day and time? Listen, when we're grown folks and we have to talk to other grown people, we need to be respectful of their time and ask, hey, this is a good time for you to have this type of conversation, and this is what I want from this conversation. But maybe they're a great listener. Maybe there's someone that you feel good about, that you're mentoring, or they view you as a mentor. You're like, oh, this person reminds me of my strength. Allow them in. But when you have this negative energy person that's sucking up all this stuff, you do not have the discernment to decide who's my funny friend, who's a good listener, who's someone that I'm mentoring, that I benefit from, as well as this person. Why? Because you have this person with this negative energy taking up so much of your space. So much of your space. It's like, I can't continue to do that anymore. Right? So do we need to have the conversations with them? You decide. You decide about the conversations, but we can repel the relationship. You can create a new narrative. And that means you're giving them the complete opposite of what it is that they enjoy from you, or what they think they enjoy from you. So if it's negativity, give them positivity. If they want to gossip about someone, you're like, oh, yeah, okay, I hear you. And then you change the subject about something else. Why? You're like, I don't want to engage in talking about this person. I don't want to gossip. Maybe I used to gossip with you, but I'm not there anymore. I don't want to do that anymore in my life. I have been delivered from that. It's okay. You change the topic about that. Maybe someone that just always have a problem. Y'all go out in public, they got a problem with the waiter, the waitress, the cook. They got a problem with the parking. They got a problem waiting in line. You said, you know what? Okay, maybe our friendship should not include outings. Why? Because you don't seem to handle outings very well, and I can't handle outings with you. Now, do you say that to the person? You get to decide. I would recommend no. If they say, hey, you want to go out to eat? Maybe not. Maybe we can do this, and you decide something that doesn't involve other people, because they can't handle that. Right? Maybe eventually a person gets a hint, hey, man, I'm not going to ask her to go out to eat with me anymore because she always says no. You just repelled the whole thing without getting into more and without impacting the relationship more. So I hope that makes sense. I would love to hear your comments. This is what I'd like you to do. If you enjoyed the video, if you found some value in it, give me a thumbs up. Love to have your comments. Look at the show description. If you want to work one-on-one and say, how can you help me create some boundaries? How could you help me understand myself a little bit more? How could you help me with my mindset? Because I want to enter into this new level in my life, but I have these other challenges I'm just not sure how to navigate. Set up a consultation call with me. We'll work through it. It won't take very long because you can handle this. It won't take very long. We can do this. I will see you in the next video.